Alright guys, it's your boy Ryan Thomas here. Sorry for me looking very tired. I am very tired, and it kind of links in with the video theme today. So I'm going to be talking to you about owning a Samsung Galaxy S5 in 2016. Let's start off with a brief overview of the device. Up front, it's got a 5.1-inch display. It's got a headphone jack on the top as well as an IR blaster, which is a bit strange. On the left, to the upper end of the device, we do have a volume rocker. To the right, we have a lock button, and at the bottom, we have a USB 3 mini connector. Then on the front, along with the screen, we have two capacitive buttons and one home button, and on the back we do have a camera and a heart rate sensor. Let's start off with the good points. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. It's a 5.1-inch 1080p affair. It's possibly the best screen I've ever seen on a device, not only because of its 1080p sharpness, because it's also Super AMOLED, which means that it's got lovely blacks, very nice contrast, and also very vibrant colours. Obviously, being a Samsung panel, we kind of expect this. It's just an absolutely gorgeous display, and everyone who looks at it seems to marvel at its colours and its perfect kind of poppy characteristics. It's also covered in Gorilla Glass 3, so there shouldn't be too many problems with droppages and things like that. Next best thing is actually the camera. The camera is absolutely gorgeous. It's a 16 megapixel rear facing affair that can shoot 4K video at 30 FPS and 720 video at 120 FPS. So I'll show you some of the test shots and test footage. Absolutely amazing, kind of gorgeous looking shots, if a little bit oversaturated and a little bit overprocessed. On the front, we have a 1080p 2 megapixel camera that seems to do quite well in video calling, but you're not going to be shooting Michael Bay movies on it, of course. It is a pretty good front facing camera. There is one there. Some other good things about this is the fact that it does have micro SD expansion up to 128 gigs, and the fact that it does have a removable battery as well. Apart from this, it does use a micro SIM instead of a nano SIM, and some extra cool bits is it has a fingerprint reader. It also has, like I said, a heart rate sensor, and it does have the headphone jack at the top, which is my preferred place to put it because I kind of lift my phone out to peek at my notifications. Otherwise, if you guys like it on the bottom, you're not going to like this because it is actually on the top. And also the IR blaster is pretty cool, it means you can control your TV with your phone. Now for some bad points. I know this gorgeous display and this amazing camera are kind of an awesome part of the phone, but the battery life's not that good. It does not last me a full day whatsoever. Now, I am using this the same as I would a Moto X 2nd gen, the same as a brand new phone, same as an old phone. I've never had a phone completely die on me apart from the LG G3, like halfway through a day, and this phone definitely does it. It doesn't even have a 1440p display, and it's 5.1-inch 1080p, which is pretty average, and it doesn't last a full day for me, so that's kind of the bad point. It is 2800 milliamp hours, which is a little bit more than average, I'd say, in a phone of this age, but it doesn't last me a full day, which is really annoying. Next is performance. Now you're probably thinking, well, with a Snapdragon 801, 2GB of RAM, well, this is basically the same as the Moto X 2nd generation. And you're right for thinking that, but the performance is nowhere near as good. Now, I have a big feeling that this is to do with the software and TouchWiz in particular, which is Samsung's version of the skin that goes on top of Android. This is why, if you're not familiar, Android phones look different and you might think they run a different OS, but they don't. Samsung heavily customizes their skin, which is really annoying. And I believe it's to do with this, because in games, it runs perfectly smooth, which is Adreno 330 GPU, works absolutely flawlessly. But multitasking, running through the OS, running through apps, just doesn't like it. There are a lot of crashes, a lot of overheating, and I know it's not just my unit this time where, you know, with the 1M8, it turned out it was just my unit. A lot of Galaxy S5s have been doing this, if not all of them, and I am a bit of a power user, I will admit that, but that's not good, man. My phone actually overheated and like physically turned off at one point, which is really annoying, and that was using Snapchat, so I'm not trying to deter you from buying this because of that, but if you use lots and lots of apps and you're constantly multitasking, it's going to overheat. There are going to be problems. If you're a casual user, say you just use the odd app here and there, it's going to be fine. But for me, performance is not good enough. The fingerprint scanner. Now, there is one on there, and I am thoroughly grateful for this, because I just don't seem to like a phone if it doesn't have a fingerprint scanner on it, because of just security reasons. But it's a swipe instead of a push, which automatically kind of deters me. And secondly, it's not that accurate. Now, in the B-roll, I do tend to do it quite well. I'm in ideal conditions, but the fingerprint scanner is just a bit slow to register, and you have to be quite precise, otherwise it's just not going to pick it up. Nothing compared to, you know, modern iPhones, modern Samsung devices, Huawei's, anything LG's. it doesn't seem to pick it up all that well. But then again, it is a 2-year-old phone. Also, the build quality isn't the best, and the size for me is actually quite good, so I'll put that in the good section. A lot of people are liking the size, it's a nice average. For me, it's classed as a small phone, and I do tend to, I don't mind the size. It's not as small as you'd think it would be. And it kind of brings it back. This phone cost £100 now, and this was Samsung's highest end flagship at the time. The difference between this phone and the phones that I commonly look at, which are Nexuses, stock-based Android devices, which people don't tend to like because they haven't got as many features, well, it's a bit different because Samsung, because of its heavily modified, heavily kind of user-accessible, multiple feature layout, it means that there's a lot of stuff to have to update, and it doesn't update as much. Apparently on GSM Arena, I can update this to Android 6.0, but there is no over-the-air update that lets me update to 6.0, and I've got to resell this device, so I'm not putting a custom ROM on it. Whereas the Moto X 2nd generation, which I'm going to be comparing the two overall later, is the same age of the device, and it runs 6.0, and that's because it's stock Android, and there's a difference. This phone crashes for me, and I cannot use this on a daily basis, but I am quite a power user. If I was someone who was looking at, a Samsung device or just a phone in general that was quite high end, I would recommend this for the camera quality, the screen, and the overall experience is quite nice. There are a lot of features like the heart rate sensor and just little bits that kind of add up. But overall, I cannot recommend this to anyone who is a power user. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I would recommend it to someone who is looking for a phone that's moderately powerful, can play decent games, has a great, honestly, great camera, a gorgeous screen, one of the best I've seen on any phone, and has features like heart rate sensor, fingerprint scanner, IR blaster, stuff like that. Would recommend. And remember guys, it doesn't really matter that much about the battery life because you can actually go and get spares because they are removable. You can also expand the storage. It is IP67 rated. The only thing about it that isn't IP67 for me is the fact that I've lost the flap, and it uses the flaps to kind of cover the gaps, which is kind of annoying if you lost them or they've broken off. So overall guys, would recommend this, but be wary if you are a power user. Thanks for all the support in the recent videos. We've just recently hit 100,000 total views, and we are kind of, building up. We're almost 600. We might even be on 600 subscribers when you're watching this. It is absolutely fantastic and phenomenal, and I can't thank you guys enough. So thanks for watching. Keep positive vibes. Buy an S5 if you want an S5. If you don't want an S5 and want to spend 100 quid, I would recommend a Nexus. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.